Taurus, welcome to your December timeless reading. I'm Victoria with Aligned Soul Tarot. Let's get into your messages here. So the way that I do it, if you're new to my channel, is I sit with your energies, I see what wants to come out. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. We just roll with it. And usually there's a connection, there's symbolism, there's certain symbolic meaning that maybe you even find within these messages. And I would love to hear about your thoughts, in the comment section below. If this does resonate, if it doesn't, don't make it fit. We'll talk about some astrology, and we'll also pull some tarot and oracle messages, and the love reading is below, okay? As well as all my other helpful links, any songs that come up for you, affirmations. I like to support you. My goal here is to provide you with as much supportive messages and guidance after this reading, right? To help support and facilitate the actual integration of the message. So below you'll find a ton of links for different things that I utilize, tools that I utilize on my tool belt that might help you. Okay, so check out the links below, whatever you feel called and guided to. So Taurus, you represent the mountain to me. And we talked about this during your season, and really what it is this steadfast determination, right? I've been talking about this kind of amongst some signs. I feel like the earth signs, mainly Capricorn, has been getting this, the final reserves, right? Pulling on those final reserves. It's a strength year. We're at the end of the year. And also I do have a full moon in Gemini reading below, and Mercury retrograde reading for the times of now. So you'll find those will be the first two links, okay? But yeah, we're kind of pulling on the last reserves of the year, and we're thinking about and pondering, okay, what's up next year? What's next year gonna bring? And some of you could be maybe, right, this is a general reading, feeling like a bit passive or just kind of lower energy, maybe fatigued about like, wow, this year was crazy. What's next kind of thing. Or for some of you, and I would urge you to reframe the mind to be more like, I'm excited to see what's next. Even if, you might not always believe it. You got to think it to believe it was one of the main messages in the full moon in Gemini reading. Because Gemini is the power of the mind. It's about making choices, right? Lots of choices that need to be made, and that can be challenging, especially with all this kind of retrograde energy. It can feel like a bit of tension is being applied. Square off to Saturn right now between Jupiter and Mercury. We have this opposition with Sag and Gemini. So there's tension naturally, but where the tension lies is where the growth is. I like to say that saying, and I live by it. And so it's an affirmation for me more than anything, because I do understand truly that it's not always going to feel good. And for you, Taurus, you like what feels good. Your ruling planet's Venus. And so that's a big lesson for you that you could be learning with this kind of tension, is that change doesn't always feel good. And we can still remain hopeful and optimistic even in the times that we might not feel so good about the change. Okay, and so I was seeing someone on a mountain, and then it reminded me of the root chakra. There's a meditation that I've been utilizing for many years, and I will link that below as well for your root chakra. It talks about visualizing a mountain, which again, you do visualize. And remembering on that journey, Taurus, wherever you're going, that you have to remember to stop and smell the roses. I got the image of the Fool card, also for other reasons, and I'll tell you why. There's lots of yellows in your energy, which is about sun. This is vitality, solar plexus. So you could very well have Aries in your chart or dealing with an Aries, or this could be a new cycle, right? A new year, new cycle for some of you, embarking into something completely new and having to make a choice about that. I remember to stop and smell the roses. From the After Tarot, that's one of the messages, is that I'll show you the cards so you can kind of get a better visual. So the After Tarot it's really cool. So it is the traditional Rider-Waite, but also it shows what happens next. And in the Fool card, I'll show you. They've actually already jumped off the cliff here. You see this is a lot of yellows. So when I think of yellow, I always think of the Fool. 0. So this is a starting point of something. And they have a rose in their hand. And the dog is like there to guard them. So there's someone protecting you. And that was a strong message in the full moon in Gemini reading, is to calling on your ancestors, your guides, whatever you believe in, pray, you know, affirmations. This is kind of like a test of faith at this time. And knowing that you're not alone, you got that trusted companion. There's someone that is loyal to you with the dog there. And they've released the baggage and they're smelling that rose. Okay. I'm going to start doing more on my Instagram if you don't follow me there. I don't know about daily like I used to do. Years ago, I used to just pull cards. And I'm going to send you the link as well for the Fool card, because I love to write poetry. And I plan to do more in the next year for each of the cards. So I will link that if you want to listen to that message. This was probably almost 2 years ago. But I really loved that post that I did for that card. So we're going to put this back in there because I'm going to use this deck and we're going to see if it wants to come out for you. So acclimation, you could be, you know, when you go up really high in elevation, you feel like you have to acclimate to something. So there could be something right now that you're having to acclimate to. It doesn't feel so good, you know, like, again, when you're reaching, you know, 3,000-4,000 feet up, your body can take time. You know, I'm thinking of in South America and Peru, how they have to chew on cacao leaves to give them the energy. So there's a lot around your solar plexus, your root chakra. Like there was the calcite that came through for you. Yellow calcite is a specific stone to alleviate some procrastination that you might be experiencing, like kind of dredging something, a change of a new cycle that you know that you have to do. And other things to work through this is to, I heard wind, and then it led me to wind down. I saw someone working with clay. Anything to do with like wild crafting, utilizing natural resources to craft something, make something. This might help you. Wild crafting, primitive skills, bush crafting, things around sustainability, just working with your hands in the dirt. Okay. And you could literally be sculpting with clay. You could be a sculptor, or this is something that could help you to kind of get in touch with the elements. Because Taurus, you are very much earthly, Venusian, creating things, Empress energy, right? Male or female. And then I did see views of like Mount Shasta. For some of you might live near there, or the Appalachian Mountains. Like, what mountain do you live near? Go visit that, okay? If you can, of course. And yeah, calcite, yellow calcite is a good stone to have at this time to release any blockages around procrastination, around your solar plexus. Again, it's fire energy. It's building confidence, boosting motivation to step off that ledge, you know, trust fall. Okay, so those were your messages here. We're going to get into your reading. So astrology based, right? We just came out of that full moon in Taurus, and then this full moon in Gemini is kind of the culmination of the last month. So for you, it is going to be pretty massive to reflect on Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde. How are you exerting yourself and how are you learning to draw back? If you're being a bit volatile or fatigued or procrastinating, get out in nature. So this last 30 days, I want you to reflect on, and again, that full moon in Gemini reading is below. Okay. And with Sagittarius, it's about our Chiron placement, right? Sag is about higher truth. This is looking at the big picture. Gemini and Sag are the messengers to the gods. Gemini, one twin lives on land, one in the ethers, and they communicate to each other. Sagittarius is the sky daddy, Jupiter, right? And he's just sitting up there awaiting that message from Gemini. And then he kind of takes the message and he refines it. Mercury retrograde, and Mercury's in Sag right now. And then he shoots it off to the gods with his arrow. So he has to know where that message needs to be relayed to, and who and where and when and how. So he's kind of like the I would think of him as the contractor. He's the independent contractor for the sky. He needs to know what direction to take, and If, say, Sag, you know, is coming from a wounded place where maybe they are taking in information and they are not allowing themselves to be as open to what Gemini maybe is trying to tell them, right? And then they are kind of, you know, when someone, it's like I'm seeing the game of telephone when you're a kid and the message becomes more muffled over time. I played this game with kids. I work with kids as my main gig. And it's really funny when you start off in a circle and by the time you get to the end, that message, most of the time, depending on the age of the kids, right? It's something completely different. So this is that Mercury retrograde energy where you could feel like miscommunication. People aren't getting down what you're putting down. I remember last month, I think it was Aries. I'm getting strong Aries correlations for you. It's like the Rock. Do you get what I'm putting down? It's just like, that's not what I meant. Like, you know, when people take in information and then they are, again, if Sag is doing it from Chiron, their wounded part of their chart, they might take in information from that part of self. I'm getting reminded of parts work. You'll find a link below on that, and also reframing. Understanding when you're taking in information, what part of self is deciphering it. Because if it's, say, your inner child or your inner teenager or the anxiety part of you or the angry part of you, it's going to decipher the message very differently. You get what I'm saying? So looking into your Chiron during this time is very highly influential. And I do have a North and South Node and Chiron playlist below. For my Chiron playlist, I've worked through Aries to Cancer, okay? I'll be working through all the signs. But predominantly for my age group, most of you have either Aries through Cancer, but I'll be doing all of them. So check that out, okay? All right, let's do this. You're playing a game of telephone. It's like, that's not what I meant. Like, you could be going over text. Yeah, that's not what I meant, King of Swords. Like, you're just feeling like, I don't know how to even get my message across. Male or female, doesn't matter. You could also be dealing with an air sign. There you are, King of Pentacles. Lots of masculine energy here. I could be reading for a masculine, or again, it doesn't matter, right? Gender roles are fluid here. When masculine energy comes up and say you are feminine or you identify as a feminine, just remember also that we have both. So even if you are feminine and you identify as that, okay, you could be pulling on more of your masculine right now. This is where you are having to, again, trust fall, take a risk, take a chance, action motivated, asserting yourself. And I remember, who was I talking to this about? It was last month's reading, where this is something for me personally that I'm really trying to start to study more into 2025. There's a couple things, you know, I'm a Gemini sun. I'm always wanting to learn. I'm forever a student. And during Sag season, this is so crucial for all of us to remember we are forever students. What was I getting at there? I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh yeah, I want to start to dive more into breaking out of some of these, like, feminine is more receptive and passive. Yes, at times. Receiving, right? Empress, learning how to receive and not always having to give. Also, I got this message around the Emperor is the one that's actually receiving, and the Empress is giving, right? So there's something interesting around giving and receiving, the masculine, feminine, and I'm trying to learn how to kind of break out of the molds. I think it's this Pluto and Aquarius, Venus and Aquarius energy right now that we're all feeling into. Pluto is conjunct Venus. This is like Black Moon Lilith. This is talking about equanimity in relationships, freedom, autonomy, not being oppressed or controlled in relationships. You know, because a balanced masculine would be, you know, in the traditional kind of labels, and this is something that I'm still working on, so bear with me if you feel like you don't resonate with that. Drop a comment and let me know more about how you feel about masculine, feminine energy. Is that the masculine is more of the provider, right? The emperor is meant to provide for their kingdom. They are the ruler of many kingdoms, right? King of all kings, empress, your major arcana, queen of the kingdom, you know, all the elements combined. So there's something there for you to understand about your masculine and your feminine. And right now your masculine is assisting you. Also, what I'm getting reminded is that in a past life, you could have been a masculine if you are feminine in this lifetime. That very much can happen to help you heal those parts of self. I see that you are in a very grounded place financially, or this is what you're wanting, but the mental is like, it's not connecting. So you might feeling like, I just want to kind of go silent and I want to focus on work because no one's understanding me. Sorry, that was a long-winded trying to understand this, because when I speak on this, again, feminine's more passive and receptive and receiving, yes, but the masculine can also do that. The emperor is meant to receive what the empress is giving. You know what I mean? So I'm going to start studying that more. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this again. And again, subscribe to the channel. It's a free way to support me if you're still here listening along. I truly love doing this. And I love your support as well. So yeah, there's something heavy here that's being released. I like this because this is getting that vitality back that we were talking about. The solar plexus, confidence, motivation, dealing with procrastination. Some of you even seasonal depression, wherever you are in the world. We are in the shifts of changes amongst the seasons. And especially here in the Northern Hemisphere going into winter, especially where I am, you know, it can be like really gray. So, I'm getting that with the Knight of Wands, especially with the messages of the yellow calcite and the sun. There's something about light therapy, which also came through in the Gemini full moon reading that will help you. So maybe some of you might want to get one of those lights that they have for seasonal depression in your home. That might help you. Or going into some sort of red light therapy. They have all sorts of stuff now, right? As we go into the age of Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius, we're going to be seeing a lot of technological advances, some that are quite scary, but we got to evolve, or, you know, we don't have to. We can exit stage left, but, or you could kind of learn how to detach from it a bit, right? Getting out of nature, like I was seeing someone like up in the mountains, you know, as much as possible. So yeah, there's something about releasing burdens. This is Sag and Aquarius here. We have Sag also here in the Knight of Wands. There's something about confidence here for you. The strong message for you, Taurus, is confidence, because you've been taking on a lot of weight, and Taurus represents the shoulders. You naturally can take on a lot of weight, right? And that was the message of the mountain. The mountain is this very dense energy. It's heavy. And you got to be easy around what you're carrying. The kind of metaphysical, spiritual meaning behind like neck and shoulder pain and back pain is like carrying a lot of the past here. So you can look into some of the physical, the metaphysical meanings of pain in the body. Because it's a holistic, you know, kind of view on it. Of course, you can like mess up a nerve, but usually that's due to a sustainable weight that's been carried. 10 of Wands. Yeah, you got that fight in you. You are Taurus, right? Cross watchers, of course, place the rules as you see fit. You can carry a lot and you can get a lot of shit done, but you know, you got to be able to enjoy what you do too. Knight of Wands. You know, the Knight of Wands is very youthful, right? You know, very like, got that spring in your step, and you can feel like this is something that you want to get back. You feel like, you know, whatever age you are, you're just feeling kind of weighed down by life. And we all go through moments of that, you know, but there is some things that you can release. What is that? I see it's more about the mental space. So your mind could be playing tricks on you, and that's where you have to release this kind of pain. Some signs I'm seeing with is Aquarius, Sag, strong Sag here. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, strong Libra, and Virgo. There could have been, again, codependency, people putting too much expectations on you that's causing you not to be able to focus on self. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. This could have been really like a catalyst moment during Virgo and Libra season, September, October here, because this is Libra and Virgo, which was the heat of eclipse season. And you can check back to my Patreon channel. I have a lot of readings on there. And also on my channel, I do have some eclipse readings. Or just watch those months, September, October, if you're new to my channel. Yeah, delays around communication. So I feel like the world is your oyster. Okay, Aries energy, Sag. You got the whole world in your hands. You got the whole wide world. Okay, I'm going to clarify before I pull an oracle message. What do you need to release here? You got to drop these swords. It's just too much. You could be reaching a breaking point of like, wow, in the new year, I need to set more goals of like not carrying other people's shit. You're like, just because I can do it doesn't mean I need to. You know, and you can be compassionate and kind and caring, but if you're not in a place where, you know, your mental health is being prioritized, yeah, Three of Swords again. Yeah, you are in a fog. And you need to be more in this, the Fool. Here it is. I told you. You need to release yourself from emotionally manipulative people, A. Okay, people that just want to freaking fight and be combative, power struggles, defensiveness, volatility. And just know that Mars retrograde is going to bring this on. Mars in Leo is exalted. Fire meets fire. There's a push, but we have to know when to draw back, reframe the mind, get to know parts of self, release some things that we can, right? And especially for you, there's some pain that you're carrying here. It could be very well a Libra, Scorpio, or an Aries. Sorry. For you to really heal this, I'm sorry, my camera's been acting really wonky with Mercury retrograde. You could have Chiron in Aries, which we are currently in right now. Chiron in Libra, or Chiron in Scorpio for some of you, or Chiron in Sag I'm getting as well. But just look at your Chiron. Yeah, something needs to be healed. Your Chiron is going to play a huge role, especially with all this Sagittarius energy for you. Watch the Chiron reading below if you can find it. I have, again, Aries through Cancer. And I also do offer a Chiron tarot spread where we look at your Chiron, we pull some cards, and I give you some aspects, transits that are occurring right now. We see what house your Chiron's in currently as well. So you have more of a focus on now. Because there's pain here. There's pain. There's confusion. You're like, which way do I go? And this is what's causing that kind of fatigue and procrastination. It's like, God, it's hard to make choices when we're in this Three of Swords. And the card says a harsh truth is better than a soft lie. Where are you lying to yourself? Step back from everything to gain a better perspective. Yes, this is Sag season. Get a bird's eye view. So right now you could be going kind of silent, you know, radio silence, you know, trying to focus on your stability. And there could have been a revelation of a lie. Or again, this is where you've been lying to yourself, Seven of Swords. And it's kind of a harsh truth. Gemini full moon is going to really bring that out, because Gemini is all about the truth. King and Queen of Swords. We got that King of Swords there. It did show up in the Gemini full moon reading. There could be some pain around an Aquarius or an Aries again. I'm seeing that star in reverse. Something that's unhealed with an Aquarius or Libra. It's a strong air sign. Daydreaming, illusions, you know, choices. You got to make some choices here. You got to step out into something new. Yeah, you're not really happy with something. Something is not bringing you joy and happiness and fulfillment right now. Okay? And the calcite, yellow calcite, and the yellow in general in the tarot is all about happiness. And I'm also seeing here in this King of Pentacles, which is your energy, you see the yellow that they're wearing? So, I'm getting a couple messages off that. Money can't buy happiness, but stability can. safety, right? You represent safety. I have second house, emotional and physical safety. So if you feel like you could be getting tested on getting with the Saturn square off, it would be interesting to know what transits you have to Saturn or what sign it's in, house it's in. That's something you could look into with me or just on your own, because all that glitters isn't gold is what I'm hearing. If there's too much focus on money, then we tend to, again, become like a workaholic and we avoid the pain, Three of Swords. And I get that. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart, so I understand. We need safety. And if, we don't feel like we got some, like a purpose or, being driven in life and having safety, security, and, just, feeling good about that, then that can cause a lot of mental anguish as well. So no shame to that. But if there's, again, an extreme, we are humans of extremes. Do you know that? Can you see it in the world? And this is something that I feel like is my life's mission. It's like the center point. This is kind of this Buddhist of finding the neutrality, the eye within the storm. And it's not to be naive. It's not to not stand up for something or have conviction and, power and passion in life. But we tend to see this I've observed a lot of different people in my life and myself. We go from one extreme to the next. It's like, okay, so for instance, I'm going to give you an example here, and you might not agree with me. That's fine. We have this kind of, because we're going back to this masculine feminine thing. We're observing the rise of the feminine, right? Feminism in general, ideas around feminism. I totally support that. But if we go from, again, shaming the masculine, right? And this rise of feminism, then it's just the extreme. It's just now flipping the role. You see what I'm saying? We have to hold people accountable for their actions. And yes, there's a lot of the patriarchy BS that's getting dismantled. Also within feminine energies, let's be honest. There can be feminine people that are operating from the patriarchy and that kind of dominant, overbearing, I'm getting like the emperor in reverse. So let's not get tied up in gender roles here because it can be flipped for both, okay? There's lots of feminines and masculines that are operating from that hyper masculinity, like power, greed, So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I've noticed this throughout history in many different situations, is that we as humans seem to think that the answer is in the extreme on the other end. It's like, maybe this is just a part of the human way of doing things. I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around it because I have struggled with that, but I feel like I've gotten to a better place of trying to gradually. I think that what happens is a lot of people, when they feel so passionate about something, is that their emotions get the best of them and then they end up in that extreme. So the message here for you, Taurus, is to find yourself in that balance. I would look into Taoism, Buddhism, trying to find the center, find your center, root chakra, solar plexus, so you can proclaim this happiness that's here for you. Okay? Human of extremes, right? We are, because people get so wrapped up in their emotions is really what it is. And we can't avoid our emotions, but we can understand how they're fueling us. I'm getting reminded of another message that I was listening to another reader about, is think about how artists and just in general life situations that happen to us, pain, Three of Swords, grief, sadness, anger, how much that motivates us. I know it has, but I always try to observe when that's happening for me, because I don't want to just be brewing and resentment and almost like a masochist, sitting in that pain, and that's fueling me to continue to go and persevere. And you need to be more gentle. Mars and Leo right now, we really got to be careful with that, because if we're just operating from that frequency, this Gemini full moon reading was a lot about frequency. Pluto in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius is electricity. If we're allowing negative emotions like anger and sadness to continually make us motivated, so we're not procrastinated, that also can be an issue. Again, that's an extreme. We can also allow happiness and joy to motivate us too, right? And a growth mindset. Even if you're not there, you know, speak it to believe it, Taurus, okay? I hope this is making sense. Death doula, what do we have for Taurus? What do we have for Taurus? Magic. Oh, 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 it's magic. You know. Connect with the dead. Yeah, oh, nice. So the Connect with the Dead card came up in that Gemini full moon reading. Again, if you've watched it, thank you for supporting me and watching my readings. I value that. You value my opinion. I like that. And the chains, we've been getting these chains. So many chains. That was a big message in, again, the Gemini full moon reading. And also Cancer. You might have Cancer in your chart. But yeah, your ancestors are very strong for you. There's something about magic, ritual, routine, like getting out in nature. You might want to do some sort of ritual out in nature. I'm getting reminded of an egg cleanse. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, but you can take an egg and it helps kind of clear the energy. Right now, it's a lot around purging, releasing, energetic hygiene. Look into egg cleanse, okay? You can also bury something outside, like an offering, because this is very much like nature. Maybe releasing something, giving an offering away. There's all sorts of release rituals, but I feel like for you, there is something here that you need to release to find your way. Especially this Three of Swords. You're definitely manifesting something though here. Beautiful. I want to read this magic card for you. I will link that song below. That's one of my favorite songs. I remember, you know, when we used to listen to the radio. Can you believe it? I remember my dad was driving and that song. I just have like I don't have a lot of memories from my childhood. I have like bits and pieces. And there's the song by Journey, When the Lights Go Down in the City. Oh, and then the Magic song. I don't know who it's by. I just have very fond memories of hearing that song in the car, and just being like jamming out as a 6-year-old in the back seat. And my dad's listening to like rock station or something. Oh, 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 it's magic. I also did get the song for you. I forgot to mention. I will link all these songs below, okay? I Feel Good. So if you're in like a procrastination or a little bit of a funk, depression, listen to some music and just dance naked in your house, whatever you gotta do. Just listen to some maybe more uplifting music. I know personally I have a lot of strong Neptune to my Venus and Moon, so I connect a lot with music. You might want to look into your chart. Again, I offer birth chart readings to kind of see why you might choose kind of some coping skills. But one thing that I've noticed is that when I'm sad or upset or depressed, I will listen to music to help me through my emotions. And that's such a beautiful thing, right? That we have art and we have music to be able to, again, release some of that energy so that we're not always operating, you know, we're creating things out of it. You know how I was saying earlier about how when we're motivated by sadness and grief, it gives us a purpose, angry, you know. But that frequency, when we're in a place of anger and that's all that's getting us by, people are notice that, and it can come off a bit aggressive, and like you might not be attracting or manifesting the best people around you, because if you're putting off that kind of energy, it's like people might not want to be around you, or you might attract people like that. Like attracts like, right? And I'm tying this back to music, is that we can really process some things, but there are times when we can almost like self-perpetuate. I'm getting like, again, masochism, or like victimize ourselves, and like we play sappy love songs and we just sit there, you know, and everyone's process is their own, but there is a time when it's like, God, I just keep kind of like reliving this experience of the Three of Swords, and I have to kind of maybe put on some I Feel Good music. And even if in the moment you're like, ugh, like this is not how I feel, it helps you. It's kind of like when you go out, this is another thing you can practice, and I've been trying to do more of it, is just when you're out and outside, wherever you are around people, just smile at someone randomly. And a lot of people now are like, oh, what the hell? But then they kind of leave like, oh, and it makes them want to smile. You know, not like fake it till you make it it's kind of like that vibe. But, you know, the more that you reframe the mind, the more that you can start to kind of put yourself in a more growth flow, getting yourself out of the funk, listening to happier music. It doesn't have to be all the time. But if you notice a pattern where you're just kind of sitting in something, you're stewing in it, there has to be a time when you're like, okay, I got to break free. And then there could be some rituals where you could do this, right? Of course, connecting with your ancestors, manifestation spells, getting out in nature to find your way. Yeah, pleasure, listening to happy music. Also the extreme of that, right? For some of you, this is a general reading. So for some of you, if you're the one that's sitting in that kind of victim, depression, sadness, and that's what I've been picking up here with the Three of Swords, happiness, star, you also don't want to go to the other extreme. So there's something, I'm going to write that in your title, I think, of extremes. There's something about extremes here for you, Taurus, that you tend to maybe go to. Where like, if I'm not going to be depressed, but I'm going to be like Knight of Wands, like just going out and like going out every night, drinking, partying, having meaningless sex, you know, that kind of thing. You might notice that you are very extreme, you're extremist. That's that Venus in you. In Taurus, you're about the five senses. So when you're in a funk, you might actually like want touch, sound, sense, feel. I want you to observe your extremes. I'm going to write this down before I forget because this is coming up. Because the pleasure is now reminding me, yes, you want to do things that feel good. But that can also be an extreme, right? You know, and you're like, can I do anything right? Yes, you can. This is, again, the center. I'm seeing like a pendulum. And like you could do like a pendulum. You could work with a pendulum. Something that centers you, whatever that might be. The meditation's below. But you could notice and observe when you do go to your extremes and why. What's putting you there? Breaking that pattern. Breaking free from those cycles. Because you could be like at that point where you're just like, I'm exhausted by these extremes. It's like overindulgence to like isolation, you know, like you could be like that kind of person where it's kind of like bipolar. And if you suffer with that, I'm sorry, you know, nothing to be ashamed of here. Mental health is a real thing. I'm not a doctor, but, you know, it doesn't have to be bipolar for some of you. Maybe you know someone that is. Mood swings. We all have them. It can be very extreme at times though, and maybe that's something that you need to check out, or people around you. Because like attracts like, frequency is frequency. If you're around people that are like this, again, this could be about some other people that you notice that you're just like, I don't want to be in this energy because now I'm becoming that. All right, I feel like there's a lot of messages coming out for you. Okay, the magic. The universe itself and the equivalent of a great mind in our body is the only universe we can truly control. Magic calls for a mastery of one's mind, human experience, and of one's own body in order to live the life that the universe desires, and in the turn, the reader desires. This card invites the reader to research further into the origins of esoteric thought and its associated practices. I'm getting reminded that some of you might have a North Node in Scorpio or Pisces, which is coming up. This is what you're called to start to tap into: occult magic, divination, ancestry work, tarot. Magic is not simply a means to control one's physical world through spells and sorcery. Magic equally, if not more so, operates in the realm of thought, which only a healthy mind can access fully. This energy is harnessed and directed from a place of mental clarity that can transform the magi themselves and the world around them. So yes, this is connecting back to the thoughts. Three of Swords, King of Swords. Yes, we need to detach because things can be a bit confusing. Seven of Cups, too many options, too many things, right? All that glitters is not gold. Wearing yellows might help you. Again, safety. Also, I'm getting reminded of the Taurus If you do have a Scorpio North Node or a Taurus North Node or vice versa, the Taurus North Node is really learning how to minimalize, right? All that glitters isn't gold. And the Scorpio North Node is more about, again, the human psyche, the power of the mind, understanding that we can also connect in with more ancestral skills that might help calm the mind. Minimalization, again, like I said, wildcrafting, primitive skills, sustainability, these things, and like understanding the powers of nature as well. Working with earth magic, I'm getting for a lot of you. Maybe this is all new to you, or maybe you're a pro. I don't know. But there is a lot about the elements and like dirt and like clay, like I saw earlier. Herbs, that kind of thing. Are you a witchy herb? Earth witch. What do you call that? Earth witch. All right, we're gonna see what signs you could be dealing with in love. We're gonna take this over to the love reading, okay? These could be months, transits in your chart or theirs. And just know that I do offer detailed birth chart readings where you get a 2 full question tarot spread. Check out my website. I do also have, because you have to connect with the dead, I have an ancestral healing reading. And I have a Chiron spread as well. Look into your north and south node, your Chiron. It's going to help you right now to find this way home. On my way back home. Who sings that? Oh, that's a great song. I'm going to write it down. I'll link it below. Way Back Home. It's like a folky song. Way Back Home. I know the name of the artist is fleeting me. Way Back Home. Again, it's in the lyrics. You might like the song. You'll find all those links below, okay, Taurus? Thank you for sticking it out with me. This ended up being a longer reading than I wanted, but you had a lot of messages coming through. A lot are on the masculine, feminine, the extremes in life. You know, observing other people in these extremes. Again, this could be things that you're observing about yourself and others, and you're like, man, I want to stop to. I don't want to live in these extremes anymore. Venus, there you are, Taurus, Libra. Venus is in Aquarius right now. Okay. Yeah, 7 is sticking out here because there's the number 16 on this card, the 7 of Cups. Yeah, that's that Venusian quality of the 7 of Cups. Too many options, too many things, too much pleasure. You know, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain. You know, you gotta flip-flop to both. Signs that the Taurus is dealing with in love. Signs that Taurus is dealing with in love. Signs that Taurus is dealing with angels, guides, allies, ascended masters. Pluto. Okay, Pluto is in Aquarius right now, but it also could be Scorpio. You could be feeling a lot of shifts around that. Pluto in Aquarius is in your 10th house. 10th house is your soul's mission. You could be really having a lot of shifts. We didn't even talk about that. We'll be talking about that over the next year. Don't you worry. Lots of changes around your career, your soul's purpose. And I feel like for you right now, it's about really getting clear in about this pain, the sadness, the bitter truths that you're having to accept around these extremes in life, the polarities of life, duality that we live in. Gemini, full moon. What other signs is Taurus dealing with? Virgo, okay. You could have a Pluto or Venus in Virgo. Or again, it could be talking about September. And I did see that earlier with the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. This could be someone that you were dealing with, or again, a time when you felt like you lost a sense of self. You felt like, again, you didn't have a lot of confidence. I would look into getting yellow calcite, okay? If you don't have it already, wearing yellow is going to help you a lot. Any sort of yellow stone that you can find. Taurus in love. What signs are they dealing with? Taurus in love. Sun. So this could be a sun in Virgo, a sun in Taurus, or Libra, or Scorpio, or Leo. Okay? We will continue this. Pisces on the bottom and Sag. Okay, we're going to continue this over to the love reading. I hope to find you over there. If this is where we part, Taurus, take care of yourself. Bye for now.